before I dive into a part two, there were thousands of comments saying get a 504 plan. I know, of course I know. I have requested one 4 times. They are all documented. It is all in writing. This school is kicking it down the road. We are elevating it before anyone else comments. We are elevating it to the superintendent. We are elevating it to a 504, whoever oversees the 504 for the district. We're requesting a mediator. We are also looking into legal action. It is that bad, you guys. Okay, back to the actual story. So Monday rolls around, first day of school. We do not receive a response to our email that we sent over the weekend. So I walk in with that sugar pixel and I say, listen, I know you can't follow her blood sugar numbers, but you can listen to alarms. That is in the policy. So I'm going to plug this in. The health tech wants to help. She was like, yeah, go ahead, do it. Good thing I did, because guess what? That is the only alarm that was heard when a low happened. So I'm watching the blood sugar drop. It's dropping 6 to 9 points every 5 minutes. Once it gets under 70, because that is what our standard doctor's orders, that's a whole other issue. Our endocrinologist is not getting back to me. I am calling and messaging. She's not getting back to me. So they only have standard orders to work with, which they can't go against, which means they can't treat anything until she's under 70. So I see the number drop from like 73 or something like that down to 66. I call. The only number I have is the direct line to the health office. No one answers. So I leave a message. I then keep watching and keep trying to call. She gets down to 61, and then her next number is 61. That tells me somebody caught it. It is slowing down. It should turn around. I do 30 minutes later get a call back, maybe 20 minutes later, get a call back from the health tech saying, yes, we heard the alarm in the health office. We sent the LVN that was on campus to go take care of it. Your daughter is doing okay. So I have all of this information. I'm writing everything down. I'm keeping like an anecdotal journal. And when I go to pick my daughter up, I ask the teacher, hey, did you guys hear the alarm? Was it you who intervened? And she said, no one heard it. We were in the classroom, but it was during a transition period. Kids were laughing, papers were being rustled, we were playing. I'm so sorry. And I was like, this isn't your fault. This is my exact point to the school. So I detailed all of this and then sent another follow-up email to the principal, to the school nurse, the district nurse, the head of nursing. I'll explain exactly what happened and say the sugar pixel will remain in the school nurse office for this reason. We also must get a 504 plan going. The response that we got, you guys, was, well, first the health plan needs to be put in place. That's being worked on. And then we can have a meeting evaluating whether or not the 504 is necessary. And then if we determine it is, we make the 504 plan after that. But because she's in TK and because 504 plans are for educational purposes, I'm not really sure how much more you'll need after the health plan is established. And I responded, this is our legal right. You have to do this. My husband went in person on day 2, on Tuesday, sat down with the principal and was met with the exact same answer. Then I went in on Tuesday afternoon to pick her up, and when I was there, the cluster nurse who oversees the district that we're in was there along with the principal. We had a conversation. The cluster nurse handed me back the sugar pixel and said, this is against our policy. Our director of nursing says absolutely not. And I stayed firm and I said, no, I am not taking it. You can leave it there. It is the only reason a low blood sugar was caught yesterday. And then the principal says, honey, she's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. People can listen to her. You know, it's the adults who are responsible for her. They're the ones who need to listen for the alarms. And I said, hello, one, we have not established who is responsible for her. I don't know who her PE teacher is. I don't know who art or computer is. I don't know the adults that are on the playground at recess watching the kids. The only people I know are her teachers. You guys have not educated a single person. It has been me and my responsibility. And she goes, well, what do you suggest we do? And I say, provide an iPad or an iPhone that has Follow on it and educate every single person who is going to be taking care of my daughter. And then you need to figure out a plan of who is responsible for providing a low snack when they notice a low is happening. And we need to figure out who's alerting me that the low is taken care of. I can't just sit here watching a low wondering if somebody caught it. I have to know. And she goes, then you can provide that. And I say, that's not my responsibility. That's not my responsibility to purchase an iPad for your school. It is your responsibility to figure out how to reasonably accommodate my child. This is federal law. And she goes, never heard of that law before. Never heard of that. Anyway, so much more happened. I documented every single piece of that conversation in an email, and then I CC'd our superintendent, I CC'd all the directors I could possibly think of, and I told them, we're not going away. We don't want to be these people, we don't want to be these parents, but we will continue to fight so that our child has equal access to education like her peers and is not discriminated against. And as my husband discussed with you earlier today, we will be pursuing the correct legal path to get this figured out. Not a single soul responded. So my next plan of action is I am contacting the American Diabetes Association because I need their help with resources, finding lawyers, all of those things. I am filing a DOJ complaint. Once I file that, and I have every single email, everything in writing, again, before anyone is like, document, I have it all. So, and I have in actual writing that they said we will not follow and we do not want alarms in the nurse's office. They're literally saying we want no access to your child's blood sugar in the nurse's office. We will look at it whenever she comes in, which is not real. That's not a safe practice for a 4-year-old, okay? So there's that. DOJ complaint will be filed. I will then be contacting our local DOJ representative, just warning them that they should be getting an update from the DOJ in Washington, I guess. I will be reaching out to the director of school nursing for all of California. I will be continuing to reach out to our endocrinologist, desperately trying to get her to write in the actual orders that because my daughter is not independent at all, that the CGM must be followed for safety purposes. Having that as like a medical order will be really helpful in building our case. And honestly, news outlets, once I get all of this going, if I keep getting stiff-armed, media circuit, I believe, is necessary. For those of you that aren't aware, a couple years ago, the DOJ found that following CGMs, following kids' Dexcoms, is considered a reasonable accommodation under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Because the Americans with Disabilities Act is federal guidance, in theory, it should trump all other policies. I've presented this fact and all these resources to our directors in our county, and they're ignoring it. They're not even acknowledging it. So welcome to our fight. I will keep you guys updated. Definitely need policy change where we live, but more importantly, legislation change, because all type 1 children deserve to be safe at school, and this is the safest method.